It seems like the question for this gathering now is not so much what are the principles or ideas that are most important, but how do we put them into practice at scale in the largest and most influential development institutions. Many similar movements and bandwagons have come and gone before, whether it's community-driven development, participatory development, PDIA, all of these things are great, but they haven't fundamentally changed our industry. So this group that's coming together here in Manila has a chance to ask, why is that? And what can we do differently in trying to promulgate these ideas so that they will get better traction than others that have come before?
We've got a number of useful case studies that we've explored in Harvard and now in Manila that illustrate the doing development differently principles in practice and give us some meaty stories of change that we can convey to others who are interested in working in this way. But we need to gather more stories like that, and we need to gather stories that are beyond the sorts of entrepreneurial, working with state and civil society programs like SAVI or PIOPIN or Nepal ESP or the Vietnam Accountability Program, and expand that out and gather evidence from a wider range of programs in different sectors, and to really dig deeper in understanding why those programs work and to come up with a robust way of monitoring across those programs so that we can tell a consistent story of how these principles have been applied in practice.
A lot of interesting conversations have happened here about, are there ways to take some of the smaller, more agile, iterative programs that we've seen in some of the DDD examples, and then maybe pair them up with some of the larger sectoral or more sort of structured programs. I think there's a lot of promise in that idea. Are there ways of taking large programs and maybe finding a way to have an element or component within them that might be more adaptive and you know, more politically smart in the way it works? And then are there ways that we can try to find some room for maneuver for aid managers of large programs that can, you know, find ways of adapting to the environment as they go?
Well, of course, from a development practitioner standpoint, what I would like to see is really more funds going into DDD. And of course, more knowledge about how to do this thing correctly, and also more rigorous scientific evaluation of how we're doing DDD and what can be done to improve it.
It's about the staff, but it's also about the organisational culture in donor organisations, in programmes, in CSOs, and it needs to be a culture that fosters that kind of facilitative, adaptive, innovative ways of learning. And that's not impossible. There's plenty of examples, particularly maybe from the private sector, of organisations that foster that on a large scale, organisations maybe like Google or Nike even, who foster an innovative culture, but we're not that great at it in development organisations across the board.
I think that DDD has a major contribution to make, largely by trying to broaden the network of people, of development practitioners, both implementing organizations, local partners, governments, and donors, as broadly as possible, trying to really create a critical mass of people that are really believing in this idea, using the same language, and sort of exploring options, right? I mean, in a lot of cases, from the donor side, if we were to get more ideas and more proposals that really sort of spelled out some of these ideas, then we're in a better position also to sort of advocate for this and to try to support some of these activities. So I think there's a lot that can be done by DDD to really trying to take the network global and to try to really get all kinds of actors involved. In particular, I think there's a real need to get people, not just governance specialists or people that are sort of naturally inclined to think this way, but also to get health specialists and education specialists, infrastructure people, to really be part of the discussion.